President Trump may not think this is a national emergency, but I think going back to school for millions of children and the impacts on their families and the community is a national emergency. I believe that's what it is. Protecting our students, our educators, our communities, getting our schools open safely and effectively. This is a national emergency. But President Trump still doesn't have any real plan for how to open our schools safely. No real plan for how to help parents feel secure for their children. He's offering nothing but failure and delusions. From the start to finish, the American families and our children are paying the price for his failures. Failure to take this virus seriously early on in January and February, and it spread around the globe. Failure to take steps we needed back in March and April to get this pandemic under control, to institute widespread testing and tracing, to control the spread. Failure to provide clear national science-based guidelines to state and local authorities. And failure to model even basic responsibility like socially distancing and wearing a mask. And failure to make sure educators and administrators have the equipment, the resources, and the training they need to open safely under the circumstances we find now. Donald Trump and Secretary DeVos haven't stepped up. And we're all seeing the results. Millions of students are now starting the new school year in the same way they finished the last one, at home. Parents are doing their best, but more and more we're finding themselves at wit's end, struggling to balance work and childcare and educational duties, or worrying about their lost paycheck and how they'll make ends meet while trying to keep their kids on track with remote learning. You know, we're all concerned about making sure COVID-19 doesn't further exacerbate the disparities that already have existed in our educational system for so many poor children and in so many communities of color. It's unacceptable. And it can't go on like this. We all want our schools to reopen safely with a plan that prioritizes the health of our students and our educators and staff alike. I laid out my plans back in June and July, a roadmap for how to reopen safely and effectively. You can read them by going to joebiden.com. We need straightforward, common sense solutions, but Trump refuses to act, starving schools of the needed funding they need now. I'd make sure that PPE and sanitation supplies for school qualify as emergency protective measures, which is a phrase they use, to fully be eligible for federal assistance. On top of that, I'd be working with the leaders of Congress now, today, to pass emergency packages for schools so they have the resources they need in order to be able to open safely. Democratic leaders are ready to get this done. They've already proposed such legislation. Mr. President, where are you? Where are you? Why aren't you working on this? We need emergency support funding for our schools, and we need it now. Mr. President, that's your job. That's your job. That's what you should be focused on now. Getting our kids back to school safely, keeping schools safely able to remain open once they open. Not whipping up fear and division, not inciting violence in our streets. Get off Twitter and start talking to the congressional leaders in both parties. Invite them to the Oval Office. You always talk about your ability to negotiate. Negotiate a deal for somebody other than yourself.
I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel, and please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.